Hello guys, and welcome back to HJW Gaming. Whilst I'm sat in Bag End, I thought I'd have a quick discussion and just talk around what my plans are for my commanders next season. As I do have quite a few changes that I plan to make. Of course, I can't make all of them immediately as it will require some Elven Craftsman hammers. However, I do have kind of plans and wanted to talk through them to show where my formation is now and where I want it to go in future. If you guys enjoyed this video, please smash the like button and please consider subscribing to see more of my content in the future, including the season starts, which I will be streaming provided I have the days off, or alternatively I will also be providing season update videos throughout my season. So yeah, if you sub on that, you'll be able to see those as and when they come out. Anyway, into my commanders. Now you'll see the 4 commanders I have at the top are kind of my primary favorited commanders, and this is like the gear sets I have on them at the moment. I am planning on doing quite wholesale changes on these though, and Sauron has already undergone a little bit of change with some hammers I got towards the end of last season. But first off, I'll start with Dain. So last season, using some hammers, was able to get together a full Warcry set. I've always only had one Palantir, unfortunately. I've never been lucky enough to pull another one. And it always had Warcry. Similar with the Axe of Khazad-dûm, I've had a Warcry one for a while. However, I did pull a Cask of Pride with Warcry, which I was very happy with. The problem always was, however, I never had a chest piece with Warcry that I could decently use. So once I pulled a few more gold items and I was able to 5-star the Axe of Khazad-dûm to get the bonus attack, I did feel comfortable with this setup. Of course, with level 50 and 10 ring points, this is 212 attack, which is kind of in that attack area where I'm trying to get to. I want to definitely be above 200, including the ring, but ideally I want to be around 212 to 210 to 230 mark. So I am just about in that kind of region. But of course, I'm not getting any attack from my chest piece. However, what I do like with this is I am getting 18 unit defense, so it does improve the kind of tankiness of my troops a little bit. It makes them a little bit more survivable, which isn't a bad idea when obviously Dain has such low command. Quite often his troops can die very quickly, leaving the opponent attacking his HP directly, so he can also die very quickly. So it's not the worst thing in the world, and once I had this set, I did definitely improve. However, on a recent Matham video, or at least on the trading post video I released last week, if you haven't seen it, check it out in my on my channel, I did get lucky enough to pull a Perseverance Axe of Khazad-dûm. So that has me somewhat questioning the sets that I'm using, as of course I have Warcry here at the minute, but I do actually have within my Drums of Barad-dûr, it's actually the refined one in there, so I will have to get a hammer to pull it out. But I do have a Perseverance set of drums as well, as you can see here. So that does open up the possibility of maybe creating a Perseverance set and using those. And if that's the case, then obviously that will use my Axe of Khazad-dûm. So then what would my weapon be? Well, I do have a fully refined Blazing Tongue, and whilst the damage range is wider here with the 10 to 30, my current refinement of the Axe of Khazad-dûm is 11 to 24, so whilst the min damage is slightly higher, the max is obviously quite a bit off, so the average of the Blazing Tongue is a lot higher. So I think I'll get better results actually by using this on my Dain Ironfoot. The only other consideration, of course, being that reduced attack value. If I look in here, and I do use an Elven Craftsman hammer, I've got a lot of options. I do have, of course, a Warcry version, which is what I could use to keep Dain in Warcry, and I do also have a Perseverance version. So I could use Perseverance and combine that with King of Men's set, for example, and give him a Perseverance option. So a lot of kind of debate to be had here. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to keep Warcry on Dain Ironfoot. So what I'm going to try and do is essentially I'm going to try and get the Warcry Blazing Tongue and put that onto Dain Ironfoot, which does lose me 21 attack, and then I'm going to try and hopefully get hold of a chest piece that does boost attack and does have Warcry. I might have to deal with a slightly reduced attack value until that time comes around. You'll see I've got lots of scale mails here, but I've never been lucky enough to get a Warcry one. Similarly, within here, there's no Warcry. However, there is Perseverance, of course. And similarly, this one, no Warcry once again. And last one, no Warcry. So, yeah, I'm not really lucky enough to get Warcry, it seems. So I just have to kind of stick with that for now and deal with that slightly reduced attack value until I pull some kind of Warcry chest. Obviously, ideally, I'd want to pull something like a Raiment with Warcry, but I don't have that available at the moment. And similarly, I don't think any of my gold chests have a decent Warcry item available. Yeah, you can see no Warcry in here and many chests which aren't really particularly usable. And this is primarily worn-outs, so I don't actually have a Warcry chest that I can use on Dain Ironfoot, but I'm hoping to get a scale mail with Warcry at some point, because then I could use the Blazing Tongue. I want to switch it over as I want that higher damage on Dain. I'll take a little bit of lower attack if I get that increased damage stat. So the plan is, yeah, to use this Blazing Tongue, but with Warcry on him. Swap the chest out for potentially a scale mail with Warcry, which will give plus 15 attack. And then keep the rest the same, potentially even upgrade this by using some of the items from my High Elf's helmet, which I'll discuss a little bit later on. So I may even get this 5-star, and that will then give plus 8 attack. So then the plus 8 attack from the upgraded cask and the 15 if I manage to get a scale mail with Warcry, the 23 gained from that will make up for the 21 attack lost by switching to the Blazing Tongue. And then I'll keep a full Warcry set on Dain Ironfoot, which then of course opens up the opportunity for a Perseverance set on King of Men. So I could swap the Axe of Khazad-dûm across to Perseverance, of course. Once again, I will need an Elven Craftsman's Hammer to do this, to prevent losing all the gear within that Axe of Khazad-dûm. I then would have to swap the Superior Hauberk. So at the minute I'm using 1.0, so classic gear, for that 15 unit defense. Again, boost the kind of tankiness of my troops, and plus 30 attack. I would have to swap for a scale mail and swap it. I'll swap this round to Perseverance, which again will require a hammer, unless I just use the one here and refine that and strengthen using the gear, which I may do as well. But once I use that, that will of course give me plus 15 attack, so I will lose 15 attack than the compared to the classic gear that I've used previously. But of course I'll gain attack once this is fully strengthened. I'll gain 21 attack versus the Blazing Tongue that I was used previously. The helm, I believe, will probably stay 4-star strengthened, and I will also strengthen the drums up to the probably the 4th level, so I'll gain another plus 6 attack from that. So from my calculations, I think once I run all that through, if I do manage to get the Warcry scale mail, it should get the attack of my level of my Dain Ironfoot at level 40. That is, of course, here is level 50 shown in Bag End. At level 40, around the time I'll be doing PvP in my server, should get his attack to 189 on my Dain, which I don't think is too bad, including 10 from the ring skill, of course. But as a slight reduction from it was previously. Oh, sorry, no, it'd be 189 without 10 from the ring. If I add 10 in there, then I'm 199. I'm close to that 200 mark that I'm aiming for. So I think that would be perfect. And I'll have Warcry as well, which should be very strong. My King of Men, on the other hand, at level 40, with previous sets would have been at 173 attack. These changes will get him up to 179 attack, and he'll also have the Perseverance set. So whilst he's not obviously my strongest com, it only being respect 5, he will gain a lot of damage from that Perseverance effect, gaining 2% damage each round. We'll have to see how that kind of mills out. There's a potential I might flip this the other way round and put the Perseverance set on Dain Ironfoot and then put Warcry on Aragorn, King of Men. But for the beginning of the season, I want to try Warcry on Dain, and particularly because early tile farming, I think Warcry will be really beneficial on him, as well as that additional HP, keeping my best damage dealer alive for as long as possible. So that's kind of my plan for my 2 damage dealers. Now to talk about Sauron. So during my season, I did actually use a gigantic hammer instead of this Noldor sword, which I pulled during the treasure sack Matham opening, which I was very happy with. And that got me thinking of maybe I should build an agility set. Now, this isn't what I'll be using in war, this is just what I've been playing around with. But I did have a much stronger... I use my Sauron, of course, as a tank build, if you can't tell, but with a bit of agility on there. So I do use the tank build. The 4 times refined gigantic hammer, I believe, gave around 200, maybe 180 command. I think it was 208 command-ish from the 4 times refined gigantic hammer. Of course, a lot less here from the Noldor sword because I've only got a 1-star refined. But the benefit will be that when I do hammer the Blazing Tongue to get this swapped over to Warcry, I do gain another Noldor sword back, so I can use that for refinement, which should get it up to, I think, 132 command. And I'll make up for this elsewhere as well. So I've then also built this plate of the Citadel. During the same Matham opening, we got the Noldor sword. We did pick up, I think it was 3 plates of the Citadel. I think 2 of them were with Might. So I decided to use this because, I'll be honest, I don't really use my gold chests at the moment. The Berserker's Raiments I don't use particularly. I know these give initiative and could be incredible for Sauron. However, I don't have any with the agility set. I could still decide to go with these instead for that additional initiative, but at the minute, just for tankiness, I'm going with the plate of the Citadel. When it comes to PvP, it's more likely that I swap this over to something like, I think I have an agility Scout's Mail here, and then get that strengthened up because then I get that +3 initiative as well. So it's more likely I go with Scout's Mail when it comes to PvP, but for early season we will be using this plate of the Citadel, as the refinement means it's got more HP with the 1440, so Sauron will stay alive longer, particularly if I'm doing low troop methods, and also because of that 18 unit defense, which I'll carry on with in a moment. I've also swapped my accessory. Previously I used these Miraz Reins for the +5 initiative, which I liked. The main reason I had to use particularly initiative items was because I was using classic gear. Whilst not fully refined, it did give me +12 initiative, which was nice. So of course I couldn't use an agility set, so I had to get good initiative gear, such as the Miraz Reins with its +5 initiative. However, I did also pull a Silver Harp of Rivendell with agility, so I decided to look into that and potentially using that as my accessory. Main reason being I love this unit defense, +22 defense compared to the Miraz Reins. I think that's pretty huge, and also I can refine it more times, so it's an additional 20 command, so slightly making up for the loss from using that gigantic hammer. So I will be using an Elven hammer again to break down this Miraz Reins. Of course, we will only get worn outs, but I'll then use those to strengthen my drums of Barad-dûr. And then I will also be looking into getting an initiative helm for Sauron. So I do have this High Elf helmet here. Unfortunately, as you'll see, I don't have really a useful set effect in here, and most of it is worn out. However, I would still like to keep the High Elf helmets around, so I don't really want to just shut them both away, just in case I do get an agility version. So I will be using a hammer on this again to try and keep those, keep those in my inventory. But what I'll be swapping this to is I want to then swap this to a Horseman's Helm. I will be using this one here and swapping again with a hammer, a lot of hammers being required here, to an agility set, as I do have one in here. What that'll give me is that'll give me 70 command, so that's a 10 increase on the High Elf's helmet. It'll give me 18 unit defense, which is a 3 increase on the High Elf's helmet, so for a tanky build this is already an improvement. And whilst I lose the +5 initiative of the High Elf's helmet, what I do gain is the agility set, which does then make up for that +5 initiative. So whilst of course I'm losing 5 from the High Elf's helmet, 5 from the Miraz Reins, so 10 there, an agility set will give 5 to the commander and 5 to the troops, so they'll balance off exactly for initiative. But on top of that I'll then gain a huge amount of unit defense. By my calculation, my unit defense boosts by my previous set was 40, and with my new set, the unit defense boost will be 93. So you can see that as an enormous boost in unit defense, which will be particularly huge when it comes to season start, I think, and using him for early tile farming. I do get a slight command loss. My command goes from around 520 to 480. The main reason being, of course, that 70 to 80 drop in the weapon refinement due to me having less Noldors than gigantic hammers. But I gain a little bit back on the helm and accessory. So yeah, we lose a little bit on the command, which is a little bit of damage received, but I think that unit defense makes up for it. And by my calculation, my previous gear, including using the 1.0 scale mail along with the High Elf's helm, and the Miras Reigns gained me plus 22 initiative, as it was 12 here, and then 5 here, and then 5 with the Reigns, so 22. I think with the new sets, I will actually gain, I think with what I've got here with two agility sets, it should be 20. And if I come into my first wars instead use Scout's Mail, it will actually be a 23 gain because of the additional 3 from the Scout's Mail set itself. So that'll actually be more initiative as well. So with these changes, I'll have more initiative, more unit defense, and very slightly less command. But overall, I think it's a definite improvement. And it also leaves Miras Reigns and High Elf's Helm in my inventory. So if we get one of those with an agility set in future, we can always switch that over, and then we'll get monumental gains. So I think it leaves our account well set up for better kind of future benefits as well. And then last but not least, we have Gandalf the White, who previously last season was run with this classic bone mask with Hysteria. So you'll see here he does have 228 focus. So currently I'm running him with a full focus build because I'm well aware I don't currently have the capabilities really to get him to high initiative. So I'm using focus for the maximum benefit of White Council. That'd be particularly useful for early tile farming, though of course with PvP I always run that risk of kind of 10-20% risk of my White Council being stolen whenever I come up against a quicker Sauron. Over time there's a chance that this agility gear does move over to Gandalf the White. It depends of course what I pull in Matham chest, if there's anything to replace it. So for example, if I got an agility Reach of the Riddermark, I would of course swap the Noldor then instead, likely over to Gandalf the White, or maybe even use the Reach of the Riddermark on Gandalf the White. Similar with the Plate of Citadel, as it does give a little bit of focus. So you never know, my Gandalf the White might change around, but for now he's just running a full focus build. However, it would be quite useful to switch him off of this 1.0 gear if possible. So the Bone Mask gives 18 focus. I have now got a Call of the Forest, which is useful because it does give initiative, and once fully strengthened should give more or around the same amounts of focus as the Bone Mask, along with additional unit defense. So my troops will be a bit tanky. I'll have additional command to make sure they're a little bit more survivable, and I'll have that bonus initiative as well. So it does actually give quite a big improvement on my Gandalf the White using this Call of the Forest. So of course if I upgrade this one more time, 12 unit defense and 5 initiative will put me up to 45 initiative. So that'd be the next change I make, and then I'll have to look towards changing out my smoking pipe. Now the only thing with my smoking pipe is of course the Haste of Dwarves effect is quite useful, giving 12 initiative to dwarves, which is quite useful for kind of getting guardians up to quite quick levels, similar to that of like an eagle or like a berserker in a full small unit army. The only problem being of course is that dwarves are quite slow to begin with, so this does need changing out over time. And there's a chance that I may swap this out for one of these Signet of the Barrows I have here, which once fully strengthened will give 42 focus, so very similar to my worn out smoking pipe, but will also give 3 initiative as well. So I'll be a little bit quicker. Of course I don't have them in agility set, which is a little bit disappointing. If I did, then I would have made this switch ages ago. But so that's another switch I'm debating for my Gandalf the White. Anyway, with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed my talk through of what my plans are for my commanders next season. If you have, please drop a like and please hit subscribe. And I will be doing a video talking through which commanders I plan to use next season for my season opening first 24 hours / first few days farming. So I will do an alternate video on that, kind of planning out what formations I plan to use. So yeah, if you have enjoyed, please do that. And please tune in for my next few videos. Anyway, with that, I've been HJW Gaming, and I really hope to see you on the next one.